What's up, beautiful people? I'm Nathaniel Pearl.
And I'm Sammy Sheva.
And welcome to Curious Chimps Podcast, a show where we explore the infinite complexities of the human experience.
We do not endorse anything illegal, so please, consult doctors, do your research, and for the love of all that is holy, be safe. All right, let's talk about drugs.
Curious Chimps.
So you're both calling from New York, right?
No, I wish. We're in Montreal.
Montreal. Oh, so Montreal's the same difference. You're 5 hours behind, right?
Yeah.
We're the same. What is it? Longitude?
Yeah, that's why I thought New York then, because of the timing. I've had a lot of podcasts recently from New York, and they've always been this time, and they are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There must be so much more
Montreal's
like,
a nice place, man. I went there when I was 16 for 4 weeks. Loved it. Montreal, Ontario.
Nice.
Cruised around there. Drove over to North America to Lake Placid. Good times.
Oh, sweet.
Where haven't you been, man? You've traveled a lot.
Still on my list, I've not been to the continent of South America. I need to get myself there.
Where specifically?
Africa, I've done Africa, but I haven't. I did Madagascar, of course, and I did Morocco, which is right up north. Not really mainland Africa, though, is it? So Africa, yeah, I need to go.
Oh man, I heard you guys talking about it on the Joe Rogan podcast, like as a joke or something. Wait, was that Rogan's? But just crossing another desert, like an impossible desert. It's like, oh yeah, that sounds like something Ash Dykes would do.
Yes, I'd love that. The desert, it just always hooks me in. Like the ocean, when you look out and it gives you that wanderlust. The ocean does that for me, but the desert does it as well.
One thing
these rolling sand dunes, and you're like, oh, let's just keep going. So dangerous.
One thing that got me, I was in Israel a few years back, and we were in the deserts.
Yeah.
And the sky, man, holy shit! We were staring up.
Yeah.
I literally was seeing the Milky Way. It was insane.
It's beautiful, and there's no light pollution at all.
I know.
So you are just, it feels like you've got the sky to yourself, doesn't it?
I was my neck was killing because I was just like this.
Yeah. Did you see any shooting stars?
Yeah.
Or any moving satellites? Yeah, did you?
Whatever the hell that was, they were all over the place.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Those little road rage from the aliens above, hey, spinning away.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
Who the hell knows? The deserts are quality. So you guys traveled? You been out and about?
I mean,
come see, come sell, a little bit, yeah.
I mean, I went to Thailand last yeyear, and that was about.
Thailand's awesome, isn't it?
You were just there not long during the beginning of the pandemic, no?
Yeah, I was. It's funny because I booked a flight. It was just 2 weeks out there, and I didn't have to change my return flight date. My family were going to fly out for the second week, but they had their trip cancelled from the UK. And then I just said, I'll see how it goes. If they cancel flights, I'll just stay in Thailand. Not a bad bloody place to be at all. But if the flights are still going, then I'll come home. And the flights will still go. Mine was the last flight, I believe, one of the last flights out from Phuket. So I was lucky. I didn't have to rearrange flights. I just enjoyed the 2 weeks that I was there, isolated myself in the ocean. And
wow, that's awesome.
And then I came back when that time was ready to come back. But yeah, it's weird in the UK. I had the whole road to myself almost on the drive from the airport back home, which is like a good hour and a half.
Whoa.
But I'm in Wales, so it's relatively quiet here anyway. And so a lot of people are still going out and going to the beach and whatnot. It's only a mile away. Damn. It's not the best. It's not proper beach weather, but you wouldn't jump in the sea,
Yeah.
It'll be a little bit mad to do that. But it's still nice, yeah, for sure.
What was scary was you showed footage of Thailand, like what used to be like super packed areas were kind of like almost empty, which was like, whoa. Because I was just there, so seeing that, I'm like, holy shit, I know how busy Thailand gets,
Exactly, yeah. And that was on the busiest road in Phuket. That was Bangalore Road, seedy, dodgy little place. But when it's happening, it is like you're bumping into people all the time. And then pretty much, the whole street was relatively empty. All the clubs, bars were closed down. It was crazy to see it like that. Wow. Yeah. And even the flight home, it was weird with the flight, because the pilot was even saying, stay well, stay healthy, and I hope to see you soon in the sky in the near future. And that was just quite eerie, you know. You don't hear a pilot say that.
Whoa.
Not like rest up, brace up, and hopefully I'll see you back in the sky.
It's
in the
like,
future.
I hope you make it.
Yeah.
I hope I have a job when you guys come back. Even like he's saying goodbye to his job in a way too. Like
yeah, exactly that. Yeah, that's the way I was looking at it as well. I was like, wow, yeah, he's not going to be flying for a long while as well. We're all just there in the plane, sort of. I don't know, felt like we're the only ones in the sky coming home, and we obviously weren't. But geez, but I hope, you know, every red light turns green. We'll be back to normal, I hope. Meanwhile, it's bad for humanity, but good for the environment, isn't it? A lot of big changes being done right now.
Absolutely.
The world is healing naturally. But yeah, the quicker we get back to normal, the better, isn't it? Because I miss the airports.
you miss them. Everyone hates the airports.
Oh, I love airports. I love the airport food. I love just the whole vibe and the atmosphere.
Oh, yeah?
I love the drive to the airport.
That's something, man. I've gone, my one big trip I think in my whole life is India. I just went there for a couple months, and I dreaded the flight. I mean, like I didn't know what I was getting into, and there was an excitement. Right. You know, like you're ripping the Band-Aid off. It's too late to turn back now, kind of thing. Yeah. But then I was like in flight for like a day, like a good 23 hours. I had nightmares of like being on a plane when I landed. Like I hated it.
Yeah, really, you just didn't like it.
No,
yeah,
I
guess
just
there's a lot of people that just. What is it? Was it the claustrophobic-ness, or was it just?
Yeah, like
duration?
I don't. It's almost like it's like a caginess. Like I don't think I felt claustrophobic at the moment. But I was just couldn't move and got kind of antsy, and I'm not really able to sleep comfortably. Like I don't think anyone is on a plane. Like even with those.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Unless you've got a row to yourself.
That's yeah. Or you're just one of those people who just kind of conks out. You know, you're just like I can't do that.
I've got a friend like that. Sleeps everywhere. I've taken photos of the weird positions he has slept on planes, just sat up in a wooden chair. And yeah, I can compile them up. I should do a timeline and compile them up of all the different. It's weird. Don't get it. I'm probably a little bit envious as well, you know.
Yeah, that's it. I'm a light sleeper. I can't do it. So like, I would literally be in a hotel somewhere in fucking Madurai trying to sleep, and I would wake up because I thought I was like in a chair in the plane again, you know, with like an elbow and like something happening on the intercom, and I just kind of go. Like, and I was like, that was a nightmare. Like I was afraid. I don't know. But that being said, though, like 23 hours is nothing. We're talking to a guy who walks like you put Frodo to shame. You know, you walk for a year. Yeah, I'm sure you've gotten that joke like 10 times over for sure. Like you could have
it's
brought
like a Lord of the Rings adventure as well, isn't it? The amount of diversity I've got through. I should have carried a ring with me the whole way.
That would have been awesome, man.
Throw it in somewhere.
Just plant it somewhere at your destination.
Yeah, man. Hashtag my precious.
So maybe just like a quick intro for those who don't know you. Maybe you can just list or explain what you've done and accomplished, because it's quite a big list. Maybe if you can narrow it down.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Ash Dykes. I am from Wales in the UK. I'm a British adventurer, an extreme athlete, 3-time world first record holder, and author of Mission Possible and speaker. And my 3 world records are the first person to walk solo and unsupported across Mongolia. So that was pulling a trailer weighing 120 kilograms or 260 pounds. 3 weeks over the Altai Mountains, 5 weeks across the Gobi Desert, 3 weeks across the Mongolian steppe. It was 1,500 miles, and it took 78 days to complete. Wow. Second journey was the first to walk the entire length of Madagascar via its interior, summiting the 8 highest mountains along the way. That was 1,600 miles, and it took 155 days to complete. But most recently was my Mission Yangtze Expedition, which was another world first, but to become the first person recorded in history to walk the entire length of the Yangtze River in China from source to sea. 4,000 miles, taking 352 damn days to complete.
Holy
a long one.
Just an inch under a year.
An inch under a year.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe I should have dragged out those last few days. And
We could round up. Okay, so my question is, do you have nightmares about that?
I did before I attempted the journeys. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Especially with Mongolia. I was so shit scared of Mongolia. Because I'd never done anything that big before, you know. I had done adventures, dangerous, reckless, sometimes with no permit, sometimes with no visa.
Oh, wow.
You know, when I was 19, off I go type of thing, cycling countries.
Wow.
With no pump or puncture repair kit. But that was like with a friend, you know, we would have banter, we would laugh, we get that freedom, off we went type of thing. We were always relatively safe because if we're on a bike, we're obviously on a road. If there's a road, there's people. If there's people, there's food, there's water. But Mongolia was that first big one. I'm talking, when some people say solo and unsupported, what they mean is sort of they're walking alone and they're not with someone. The van is trailing behind them a few miles or ahead of them a few miles carrying their provisions, in which, I don't know, man, I see that not really as unsupported. I see that as supported, but from a distance. So in my case, it was like there was no van. There was, you know, it was such a low budget expedition that even if I slipped into worst case, which I did almost die at one point. I couldn't call no military or no helicopter to come pick me up. My only means of backup was a text only, because that's all I could afford, a text only satellite phone. It took me about 10 minutes just to type help me to my agent who was in the capital city, and I would need to rely him at least 3 to 4 days to get to me if he found me in that time, and that's pretty fast if you're in the middle of the Gobi Desert. And then another 2 days to get me to safety. That's almost like a week until you are rescued. In which, if you stand on the back end of a snake, a week's just too long. Isn't it? And so yeah, it was completely solo, apart from the people that I met along the way, which they are all a part of the journey. I love meeting the locals because you learn so much from them. But they would never trek with me, you know. And unsupported meaning, yeah, you know, I had to carry all of my ration packs, over 5 weeks worth.
Wow.
On my trailer. That's why it weighed the same weight as a world heavyweight boxer. You know, it was painful, and I lost a lot of weight and became very skinny. I was struggling a lot.
Did you lose like over 30 pounds, something like that?
Yeah, 13 kilograms. So what would that be in pounds? That's probably about around 30 pounds.
26, 28 pounds around. Wow. Yeah, maybe more.
Yeah, and that was mainly the Gobi Desert stint. But then saying that, when I caught malaria in Madagascar, I lost 30 pounds again almost in the space of a few days.
Holy.
Yeah. So, and that was only 1 month into a 5-month expedition. I still have 4 months to go.
This begs the question,
door, man. That's terrifying.
This begs the question,
so
man.
bad.
Is what started this this crazy rampage? So what started this this rampage to go on these crazy journeys, man?
You know, I when I was younger, I was always very sporty and very competitive. Would I say I was super adventurous as a youngster? Probably not. I was adventurous for sure, but I wasn't one of those tree huggers like, you know, let's go camping this weekend.
Yeah.
I prefer to be out with my mates, playing tennis, rugby, football. But then there were the weekends would come where we'd pack some alcohol. We would take lighters with us. We'd create like a little bonfire. We'd sleep around it. We would chat. We would drink. You know, every sort of teenage goes through that stage. But then I guess it was when I moved from high school to college. I knew that I wanted to do something with the outdoors, and there was an outdoor education course in college, which was a diploma. And in that course, although there was an awful lot of theory, there was a lot of hands-on practical work as well. We'd be getting our avalanche awareness, our winter mountaineering, our powerboat license, surfing, climbing, kayaking, you name it. And I loved that idea. So I did that course. And it was that course that I realized I was far more of a kinesthetic learner. You know, I learned far more through hands-on practical experiences. And I made the decision in college that I didn't want to go on to university, because I believe we all learn in different ways. If you can learn in the classroom, go for it. It makes sense. But if you learn through experience, you're not really going to experience much when a teacher's just telling you about their experience and their knowledge. If you learn that way, great. You know, that's the easier way. But I just knew that I would need to learn the hard way. Like it's bad. Even if someone says, don't do that because this will happen, I'll still do it the wrong way, but then I'll learn from that and I'll never make the same mistake twice.
Nice.
But, I was working in a fish and chip shop. I was working as a waiter. My car was guzzling my few pennies that I would make at the end of each week. So I got rid of my car. I decided on a plan. Let's go out. Let's explore the world. Let's develop myself. I'd be developing my maths because I'd be juggling different currencies. I'd be developing my English because I'm having to type up and write professional looking emails. I'd be developing my confidence, my self-esteem. I'd be putting myself out there in awkward, dangerous, and sometimes embarrassing scenarios that I would learn from. I'd be throwing myself in the deep end. And I just love this idea. And, the UK, it's very high on its health and safety. And I love the idea of going off traveling and just watching my own back type of thing,
Yeah.
Just seeing what the world's about. I was curious. It's a beautiful world, lots to see, lots to do. And I just wanted to try to make that happen. So I was working 240 hours a month as a lifeguard. I sold my car and bought a bicycle. Was just cycling every day to and from work, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning. For those 5 a.m. starts and, along the coast in Wales, it looks nice outside now because it is, but 90% of the time it's rainy and windy. I was ticking. I broke all my goals down into lots of little sections, created this mind map of what I needed to tackle first, kept ticking them off until eventually age 19, I set off. And that's pretty much when the madness started. So that's how sort of the idea came about. But then the madness started probably from China, That was a long answer, wasn't it?
Oh, I love it, man. I get the feeling we could just let you talk this whole time, man. I'm like, I have a few random questions because I'm just kind of like trying to psychoanalyze you. Like for one, I just don't like fully get you, and I want to capture a bit of that in the bottle, But for two, I just want to like. I want to know what makes you tick just for the sake of curiosity, because you're setting a bar for the planet. You're breaking world records. You're like living inspiration. I don't want to toot your horn, man, but like, wow, it's just the truth. It's crazy. Yeah. You're like, just for example, like, are you an only child?
I'm not. No, I've got an older sister and a younger brother. I'm the middleman, the middle child.
Okay, yeah, because I just picture like, physically, this is so demanding, and mentally too, because you have to plan so much and you have to go out there and push yourself physically. But there's this emotional side where you're really alone for a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, like I saw something. I think it was like an Instagram post, but you were saying that was part of your training. Like you're like, I'm in isolation and I'm working out, and it's like that's when I realized like you're that's like a muscle for you as well. Like you've consciously given yourself this time to be alone and to just be like, this is what I'm going to need to prepare for. I was joking with Nate, like before we called you, like I would be chilling with my friends. Like if I'm going to walk alone for a year in a foreign country, like I'm going to be hugging my friends and family, like for dear life. And you're like, no, I got to train being alone. Like it's a smarter way of doing it. But like, I don't know, like it's for me, that's hard. And it's kind of alien. Yeah. I don't know how to.
Yeah, no, for sure. It is like that. I think, a lot of people train at gyms and they like that community, which is a great thing to have. But I know that sense of community won't necessarily help me on an expedition where I won't have what I'm used to having. And so whilst they'll rely on other people to motivate them, they'll be like, oh yeah, but Jade's going or David's going, so I must go because I said I'd go. And then, so there's that circle, which is nice. That's the great thing with social creatures. But with myself, I'm forcing myself almost, not now, but before Mongolia or before any expedition, a good few months before, to get outside in the rain, in the wind. There's no one there to motivate me. I have to motivate myself. There's no one there to make sure that I'm doing the exercises in good form, that I'm taking on all the right reps. There's no coach to shout, say, get down lower on those push-ups or pull up higher, on those pull-ups. It's all, I am my own judge. I am my own personal trainer, my own nutritionist. So that comes with a big responsibility. So with that, I can either choose to slack at it and just say, just keep hitting that snooze button. But at the same time, I know that in Mongolia, there will be no snooze button. That won't give me no that doesn't care who you are. That will beat you up and
Yeah.
leave you stranded, you know. So I am remembering that in the morning and getting myself out there thinking, you know, right now I'm fortunate enough to have that option. But if I take option A, which is to get out there and grind hard, I'm going to be prepared, not physically, but also mentally for the demands of Mongolia. So, yeah, you're right. There is a lot of, you know, I'd say it was almost 60 or 70% mindset.
Wow.
And maybe 30, 40% physical.
That gives me a good point. You know of Cameron Haynes?
I didn't, but a few people have been tagging myself and him a lot on Instagram. So I've clicked over to his profile. He's a hunter, right?
Yeah. He does like crazy ultra marathons as well, and like he'll do crazy treks and go for the hunt. But he had a great point in one of the podcasts he was on. He said that like his motivation is like that deer or that elk in the mountains has no days off. When it's raining, when it's cold out, that deer or that elk is just constantly moving and has to survive every day. So that's his motivation. And now I kind of understand your angle, where when you're in those mountains in Mongolia or wherever, there is no days off when you're in it, you know?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, 100%. You've got to keep going.
It's a brutal honesty.
You know, at that worst case when no one's there to pick you up. You know, the last guy who attempted the Mongolia trip, he failed on all 3 occasions. I think he was evacuated just before or just after the halfway point. And he sort of made a joke. I said, how did he get access to such you know, to the military, to such great evacuation? And he just replied, marry a Russian. And it meant that because he married a Russian, he had access to the Russian military, which got him access to, I think, the Mongolian military, and he was able to get a helicopter.
Okay.
But I didn't marry a Russian, so I went the hard way. And I was just out there, and my backup was 6 days. But I think that was that extra motive then, that extra reason to take caution.
No safety nets.
All of the little details. Yeah, because I did hit a point in the Gobi where I did miss that point of backup. It was either 6 days to rely on pickup and for him to get me out, or 4 days by walking. And I didn't believe I could survive for 6 days. And so my only option right there and then was to get up from out of my trailer. That's where I would hide to seek shelter. I was delirious. I was hallucinating. My organs were almost dried up. I was sort of rationing my last remaining dribbles for the few weeks in the Gobi. And I relied on breaking my goals down onto 100-meter segments because I couldn't visualize the 4 days that it would take to get to that community. I was just in too much agony. My mind was a state. But I broke down into 100 meters because I could visualize 100 meters. You know, I could see 100 meters. And then by breaking them down 100 meters by walking, then hiding only for 5 minutes, because usually I could hide under my trailer for over an hour at a time, which would delay me and have me suffering even more. And by doing that, I did make it to that community, which I knew would definitely have water. One of the previous wells were dry, but the one in the community 4 days ahead, not only did I know it's a confirmed water source, but there's people where I could rest up for a few days. And I did just about make it. I was in a bad way. It took me 8 days to recover. My urine was pretty much black. My family were panicking, of course, but day by day, I got better. I bucked up that mental, physical courage. And, you know, potentially that's where that training helped again. You just never know, do you? You never know the reason as to how or why. But all you can do is prepare as best as you can in the hope that that gives you that slight edge that could put you a mile in front of yourself, which could make the difference of life and death when you're out there, you know? So that's why I do train so hard.
It's like little victories for the big battle, you know?
Yeah, it is for sure. And that's happened a few times. You know, even malaria. There's been people that have died of malaria within hours. You know, I managed to continue walking for 5 days until I got, you know, just crazy stuff like that. Like, I believe with that, I still definitely did have the anti-malarial pill inside of me, trying its best to fight malaria, because I was taking some of the pills, but they only cover you 80%, and I was suffering with dehydration and I was vomiting and suffering with diarrhea because I'd eaten a dodgy eel that these locals gave me, and so my guide was as well. So these pills were going in one way, pretty much out the other side. So I don't think I had my full dose, but I still was able to push on, you know, with that. And maybe that is the mindset that I built up in the garden through the physical training. because I don't train just physically to help me build physically, but to help me prepare mentally too.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even imagine like what you were saying about being your own coach, you know, like a lot of people just like it's like pure unconscious instinct. Like you were saying you could hide under the trailer and an hour passes by. Like I see that happening so easily. Like you just think you need that rest and your mind starts playing tricks on you and you could have died. So you actually had to get up and keep pushing yourself in a time when your body was probably screaming at you. Like to just please stop, and you're like, well, if I stop, I'm dead. So mind's override.
Yeah. You know, and I remember in that Gobi Desert, I remember coming across a few camel carcasses, you know, and because my mind was in a mess, I remember looking down thinking, shit, you know, that could be me. I could just be a carcass there, you know, in the middle of the Gobi Desert with my little tracker, my little GPS. You know, how many days battery life did that have? I have no idea. Maybe 3 days, 4 days battery life before it's dead, and my GPS isn't marked. But yeah, you know, little things that would pop into mind. But again, you know, even the tractor, not the tractor tire, the tires on my trailer, they were thin, so they were even sinking into the soft sand. So again, we're looking at a 260-pound trailer, but now we're trying to pull that through soft sand in 40+ degrees Celsius, rationing the last remaining dribbles of water, with no breeze or no shelter, with weeks on end, with having lost probably 10 kilograms up to this point because I'd faced the Altai Mountains, and that took a lot out of me. So I was literally relying on those last few reserves that I had left in my body to get myself out there, and the mindset was crucial to that, you know. Mental. I look back now and I think like, oh, holy shit.
I know you must see yourself the way we see you. Like it's such a crazy endeavor that you're looking back on it going like, what the how did he do that? But he's you. Like you must have been on such an edge.
Yeah, what a crazy bastard, you psychopath, you.
Well, especially when you're talking about like when you were younger, when you had the no permits and you were doing like the riskier ones, you know?
That stuff I look at, you know, Mongolia, I like to see as more concentrated, you know, that was meticulous planning, that was attention to detail, you know, and I really scared myself and prepared so much. You know, that previous guy who had attempted it, he was also a Navy soldier and a desert explorer, whereas I was a 22-year-old who was living on the beach as a Muay Thai fighter and a scuba diving instructor. You know, I'd never been to no desert. I wasn't in no military. I was like, what chance do I have? But at the same time, I realized, you know, just because no one's found a way to do something, it doesn't mean it can't be done. And it's that saying that really stuck with me. And that's what put my parents at ease as well. They would see this insane planning, the logistics. It's not kind of, I didn't really see it as reckless, because if there was something I was unsure about, I think I would have delayed it and just waited, prepared and trained until I knew I was confident enough that I could complete it. And I did. I went out there knowing, I didn't go out there thinking I might die. I went out there knowing I've got it, but I will face crazy difficulties, and I will face the point of what that previous guy faced, where he called for evacuation. And the difference between failing and succeeding is whether I can get past that section he couldn't. And that was the big question mark. That was the only question mark of the journey for me. And that's why I scared myself so much. And I remember he was a decent guy. He wrote to me in an email. And at the bottom of that email, he stated something that terrified me. And that was, incredible is the ability to continue no matter what. And I just didn't get that. I didn't understand what he was trying to say. But it scared me. It scared me. But again, I used that to my advantage, and he probably doesn't realize that maybe he was that little sort of guardian sat on my shoulder, and that quote helped me a lot, because at that time that I was hallucinating and I was delirious underneath the trailer, that popped to mind, and I was trying to make sense of it at the worst place scenario, but also the best place I could be in, which I needed it most. And I said to myself, well, no one and nothing's incredible, of course. But if incredible was a thing, what would it do in this scenario? So out there, whilst I was solo, I was almost trying to personify incredible. You know, if incredible was a person, what would it do? And I realized that it would break down its goals. It would focus on the short-term accomplishments, the little achievements and the little steps, rather than the 4 days that it would take to get to that. And so I almost could see this being, because my mind was pretty fucked, getting out from under the trailer and walking for 100 meters. So what I tried to do is I tried to look at this incredible as a role model, and I tried to follow in the footsteps. He was always beating me off the line. He was always getting slightly further than me. He was always out from under the trailer before me. But by trying my best to follow and just picturing, right, I almost put it into a bit of competition, a bit of a race, that I could never beat this incredible thing. But it helped me, whatever it was, whether it's in my mind, it helped me get to that community, and that was just all personified by an email that he might have just randomly sent. He pointed out all the difficulties: watch out for the grey walls, the stagnant water, the drunken nomadic drifters, the snow blizzards, the sandstorms. The list went on and on and on and on. And at the end, P.S. incredible is the ability to continue no matter what. Oh. I just didn't, I don't know what you guys make of that quote. I just didn't know what I think, was he telling me that it's impossible, or is he saying that it will take a hell of an effort? I don't know, but it helped me at the time that it's a random one, isn't it? It's a difficult one to analyze as well.
I love it though. I mean, personally, I feel like he was just being really humble. Like he was passing the baton, and he's like, "You can do it, but this is the wall that I hit." And it's almost like just factual. It's just like he gave you all these kind of warnings, and then he gave you kind of like a spiritual warning. Like, this is what you need to be in order to do that.
Almost like he knew I would face what he went through,
I guess he's the only one who really knew that he knew exactly what you would come up against. And you, he couldn't have known how you would hear that, but like you still turned the dial, you made that fuel. And what's crazy? I mean, like you were saying you were delirious and stuff. I literally have been doing the same thing. I am nowhere near your level, man. But like, I just feel the need to say, like, I've imagined this person that's me, but doing everything properly. So they're always a couple of steps ahead, and I get to kind of be the shadow of this thing. And I don't. Yeah, it's crazy that you're describing this. And like, it's something I've constructed to motivate me, so that it's like I'm channeling someone, because people motivate me. So if I can kind of create this imaginary person that's always a step ahead, at least one step ahead, then I'm always
positive you be doing right now. With the days that you just want to chill, or what, if you're on that mind frame where it's positive you, what would that be doing, type of thing, and you're trying to keep up, aren't you?
Exactly. And that's what, like, again there's like it kind of forces humility, because I feel like I'm this person's shadow. It's like I'm imagining something, but then it kind of belittles me, and then I go, okay, am I going to feel belittled, or am I just going to take the actions? Because the feeling's not there all the time, and I'm a kind of feeling person, and I need to be motivated first. And I'm realizing as I get older that that's really bullshit. Like it's not always there. It's almost never there, depending on who you are, what mood you're in. Yeah. But that I have a question for you, because I realize that feeling for me is caused by focusing on the bigger picture too much. And you were just saying how important it was for you to be not reckless. It was risky, but you planned so much. So how do you manage that? Like, how do you balance being so mentally prepared, but then in the kind of heart, you only see those 100 meters? Like, how do you not get overwhelmed, essentially?
I guess with myself, with being in that situation, I knew that I only had one option, and that option was to survive. It was to break down my goals, and that's the only way I could see myself surviving. And so I knew there was no other way, and so that I needed to apply full focus. I wasn't feeling sorry for myself. I wasn't thinking too deeply about friends and family. I was trying not to slip into that mode of looking back at the past, because I was just too fixated on making it out alive. I think the longer that I would be out there feeling sorry, or maybe regretful, or how have I landed myself in this position, and this is why the previous guy made sure he had the right backup, and that stuff doesn't fly with me. That is excuses, and that's feeling sorry for yourself. So right there and then, I just focused on the only option that I had, which was that option to break the goals down and not be overwhelmed. Yes, it's 4 days, but let's look at it day by day, step by step. And as long as I stick to this regime that I set out for myself, I can do it. You know, it was also that shock of capture, that shock of realization that, holy shit, you know, this is happening to me.
Hello? We get cut off? Hello?
Ash, instead of the negative.
Sorry guys, I don't know what happened there. I just my whole screen froze.
We were just saying, Ash was just saying that he actually gave himself like a voicemail when he was like in a better mood, let's say, and he was like pumping himself up, like positive
nice.
Ash, you were saying. I don't know the details there, but like you kind of captured a stronger, or let's say like a calmer self.
I captured the motivated me here in Wales training for Mongolia, because I was so scared of Mongolia and what I would face. I knew that my mindset would change, my emotions would change, my thoughts and feelings would change. So what I did is whilst I was at home, sheltered, warm, dry, a belly full of food and hot tea or coffee, you know, raring to go, that is like the positive me, you know. Nice. And so I set a voice recording, and I told myself that I wouldn't listen to that voice recording unless I absolutely needed to. And I actually only listened to that recording once, and that was in the Gobi Desert.
Wow.
And it was brutal, it was harsh on myself, sort of saying, you know, if you fail this, what then? You know, you're back to Thailand as a scuba diver, or you're back to Clandidno as a lifeguard, you know. However, if you complete it, and it was all positives, and I was just pointing out, making it more black and white, and showing myself what it is and what it can be. Wow. Compared to what it might not be if you don't get your ass out from under that trail or from whatever you're doing and push on. And it helped. I only listened to that once, and I was like, shit, because you can almost forget the good side, and you can almost forget the reason why you started. So I needed my positive self to remind my negative self, suffering, hungry, slowly dying, needed to remind that person who would be suffering, you know, why they started this mission and what happens if you just push on through this. So little things like that.
Wow.
And you know exactly what you need to hear, right? So you gave yourself. I don't think people all know themselves that well. You know, I think you've been with yourself a lot, so you knew exactly what you needed to hear. And it was kind of the dry facts. It's like this person who made the message didn't know exactly how you'd be feeling in that moment. Yeah. And maybe that's kind of the virtue of it. Is like, they're not telling you like, dude, you're going to die. You got to get up, like this, do this. It's like, no, remember why you're here. Remember why you chose to do this, why you want to do this. And then it's like that person that you imagined that is like steps ahead of you is almost pulling you now the way you're pulling this freaking cart, you know, like.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, it's interesting. There's lots of ways. There's lots of ways you can rely on yourself to motivate yourself. I mean, you don't need to look out. It's nice to look out at others for motivation and inspiration, but sometimes you don't have that. And sometimes you can be your own motivator. And that's what I tried to do. I knew that I'd be the only. I knew that it was my motive, and there were big reasons as to why I wanted to complete this. And so I knew what the pros and the cons were. So I was just highlighting those, you know?
Nice.
Yeah. The masters of the world, they act like masters. They rely on themselves. So I'm not surprised to hear you say that. It's something I've been trying to tune into, because I feel like I rely on people so much. And for information, that's a good thing, because you're standing on the shoulders of giants. There's nothing new under the sun, all of that stuff. But for an internal motivation, or for like a sort of love, or like just feeling a kind of validation, as soon as that goes on the outside, it's flimsy, because we all have our lives. And like in your case, there's literally no one else out there with you. You need, like, it's almost like
on yourself.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, I mean, just who does motivate? Like, do you have any inspiration? Do you have any heroes? Do you have any, like, maybe people from history even? Like, do you have like kind of big names in your head?
It's a funny one, because a lot of people would think that it's adventurers or explorers, but the way that it happened with me was so organic. I didn't really know my history, didn't really know my ancient explorers. And so there was no one really to follow in the footsteps of. It just sort of was my love and passion for the planet, and to get out there, try new things, develop, explore, the curiosity. But now that it's more of a career, you know, I look at everyone and anyone, to be honest. There's no one in particular that stands out. Rather, lots of people from lots of industries. It can be the adventure world. It can be the athletes in Olympics. It can also be the corporate world. It can be entrepreneurs. I just love people who strive to do things regardless of the odds being stacked against them. Whether they succeed or fail, they go for it. And I've got a lot of respect for that. And it can be within any industry, you know, and it's amazing. The thing I love about adventure as well is it keeps you so grounded. It keeps you humbled, I believe, because I'm constantly traveling and seeing people that, you know, don't have an Instagram, who aren't telling their stories, yet they've got incredible stories, and they've got loads to teach, lots of lessons to give, and who are living a much harsher and more difficult life, you know. So my stint through the Gobi Desert, you know, that 5-week stint, there's people who, not necessarily, you know, facing dehydration always like that in Mongolia, but there's people in different parts of the world who are facing that, who are going through that, not only for 5 weeks with this vision of just push on and I'm going to be back in this environment. And so there's something heartbreaking about that, but also inspiring and motivational. And that's why on all of my adventures and expeditions, I'm always looking at never to be about one man and his journey, but I'm always trying to look at the bigger picture. And that's the reason probably why I do partner up with environmentalists, with conservationists, with raising funds for the Red Cross, or raising awareness about climate change and the effects it has on the locals of the country that I'm crossing. Just trying to give back as best as I can. And it's something really amazing about adventures that just open your mind, I'd say, you know.
Especially the people you encounter too, and you're seeing these communities firsthand, you know.
So
there's a deep connection.
To my guides as well, you know, various different guides who join me. I always believe that the guides get overlooked, and so what I always try to do is to give credit where credit is due. You know, they're all included in my book, Mission Possible. You know, they'll be included in the documentary Mission Yangtze. Nice. Because they're obviously a big part of it, a big success. And I never used to like it the way people would get to the top of Everest, and yet the Sherpas are the ones doing the grind. They wouldn't get no notoriety, so I don't want to do that myself. So just doing things the right way, isn't it? And showing your appreciation along the way, I guess, for those people who helped to make it a giant success, and maybe it wouldn't have been a success without people along the way.
What is it? Faster alone, further together?
Yeah, that's it. Nice.
I like that.
Yeah,
because we said
it's not mine. It's not mine, guys.
Yeah.
We said it on an old podcast, but like now you can see there's lineups going up to the summit on Everest. Like it's not what it used to be, you know.
Man, yeah. Someone wrote on. I put out like questions, and someone wrote on my Instagram, "Is Everest on the list?" And it just isn't. Not Not because it isn't a challenge, because it definitely is still a challenge. It's definitely not the hardest one out there. And I do believe the likes of Mission Yangtze and Madagascar, potentially even Mongolia, are tougher challenges because you're not relying on that network, on that team, on the Sherpas, on good holds, the ropes being tight. You're relying just on yourself, really.
Yeah.
But just because, as you say, the queues and the amount of times it's been done, and the people that I know and have heard of who have gone up to Everest with very little, they're not real mountaineers, but they are rich. They've got the money, so they buy their way to the top type of thing. And that, for me, is just, imagine that queuing up. It's like a Starbucks line, isn't it? You just queuing up to get to the summit, to get that selfie shot. I don't know, man.
It loses its meaning.
It would be cool, and it's still a challenge. I'm not mocking or dissing it. It's still hardcore, and it'd still be amazing and beautiful from the top. It's still a heck of an adventure, but people need to look outside the box. There is still, the people say the world's a small place. It isn't. It is if you're on the beaten track. It is a small place if you're in that queue waiting to get to the top of Everest. But if you're off the beaten track, it's a big world, and there's lots still to see and do.
Wow. Yeah, man.
And how can that not be humbling? Because like the beaten track, as soon as you go off the beaten track, like Rogan talks about all the time, like nature doesn't care about you, and that's the that's the humiliation, the humility.
As I said in Mongolia, I just got beat up left, right, and center.
I wanted to actually ask you. I mean, like I know you have like multiple crazy stories and adventures, like year-long adventures, but it's funny to ask you like a specific little question, but I'm just curious, like have you ever gotten like directly attacked by animals? Like have you ever had to deal with like face-to-face, like I don't know, like bears, wolves, even like a Wolverine, or like a family of dogs or something? Like have you just gotten lucky so far? Like what's the deal there?
No, I have been attacked actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm laughing about it.
Because you're still here, man. Because you're still here.
Yeah. I'm laughing because at the same time I was thinking just then as you were speaking, like I'm lucky in a way because I'm not being attacked, because I'm thinking like the bears and the wolves, they got close, and I was stalked by a pack of wolves for a number of days, but it wasn't face to face. So I was thinking that's pretty good. But then I was thinking my scuba diving life and the little bastard triggerfish that come after you, attacking you, and the monkey that bit me on the leg, and the dogs that surrounded both sides, and I had to roundhouse kick one in the face and throw a rock at another, and they were still coming at me. And then I was thinking, maybe I'm not so lucky. So I guess in terms of the big ones like the wolves and the bears, I've been all right, but I definitely have been, I've been bitten by spiders, I've been sucked on by leeches, I have been attacked by monkeys, I have been ganged up on by Tibetan mastiffs in the Tibetan plateau, and they almost look like bears.
Those are scary dogs.
Those are scary dogs. And so, I've been stung by a crown of thorns, which injected some venom inside me, made me sick the next day. That was scuba diving.
Wow.
They eat the coral, and actually, when you see them, you're supposed to kill them because they were introduced and they're starting to take over, and they've got no predators, and so they're just flourishing in their numbers, destroying the coral reefs. Scuba instructors, you're supposed to really kill them. But this one had developed a tank-like shield, and I was trying to prod it with my knife. My knife slipped in super fast, and it just took revenge, instant karma. Just stabbed right at my finger.
Holy.
Jesus. Oh, man. I just have like an anxiety a little bit, like talking to you, man. Like,
it's been crazy. And all of that pretty much before the age of 24. I think most of the stuff, apart from being attacked by the Tibetan mastiffs, most of that was before the age of 24. Mental.
Do you have any like lasting physical side effects? Like you've put your body through some crazy shit, man. You were already almost dying, and then plus malaria, and then like 6 other stories where you almost died, like
like parasites or anything like that.
No, fortunately, I do get tested.
Okay.
Every time I get back home from a trip, I go in, I get my blood taken, the thorough checks. I've even been over to Switzerland, one of my sponsors, Health and Happiness. and they are like really thorough checks. And you know, with malaria, there's 4 different strains of malaria. You've got the 3 lower strains, and they can remain dormant in your system forever. They can creep their ugly head every now and again. However, fortunately, but unfortunately, I did get the deadliest strain, which is called falciparum. But if you're lucky to catch it within 24 hours, it usually kills you within 24 hours. You can have it eradicated out of your system.
It's a small window, though.
A small window, and mine was 5 days. I didn't catch it within 24 hours. It took 5 days to get there. But, you know, I arrived only, the doctor believes, a few hours before I slipped into a potential coma. But she acted fast, you know, thanks to her, I'm still alive today. And she eradicated it out of my system. And I have had my checks, and the doctor's saying it's like I've never been on any expedition. You know, my body's looking good. But then I eat healthy, I train. I do believe that you know, these little diseases or viruses now and then, you know, they perk up your immune system, they keep it sharp. I think if you're not using your immune system, it's going to drop down and remain dormant. And so what I haven't given is my immune system to remain dormant. I've woken it up many times. And so it remains sharp and vigilant.
Do you do like cold showers or ice baths? Do you do Wim Hof breathing? Like, are you into that guy at all?
I don't. I would try it though. Ice cold baths. I used to jump in the Yangtze River on my expedition. That was ice cold, glacial water. But
rivers are the best because it'll never freeze, right? It's like you could get below zero. It's just moving.
Oh man, so.
We're up in Canada, man. Like when it's winter and you take a cold shower, it hurts.
Yeah.
It's not. It's straight pain. Yeah, it's like bullets hitting your skin. It's the worst.
It's so ace in Canada, man. You have all the seasons there. It's seasons done right, isn't it? Proper winters, proper summers. Here we're just kind of it struggles. It's like I want to snow, but forgot how. Don't really know how to. I want to get the sun shining, but don't know about the temperature. It's messy. It's like an old person when their bodies stop functioning. You know, Wales.
I love it. I actually joke because, you know, like the climate is shifting for better or worse in a lot of parts of the world. And I actually joke that Montreal is the new Wales because there's just, you guys are known for just rain, right? There's even this.
It just forgot. It's almost like it's forgot how to do things properly. But there we go.
Well, I mean, at least it's consistent, you know, like if it's just raining all the time, then you're prepared for that in a sense, you know?
Yeah.
We're not prepared for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that sucks. No,
it's all right now. It's all right. You know, the nicest it's been in recent years is probably during lockdown.
Oh, yeah?
Great. Yeah. So annoying. So everyone wants to get out. They're like, oh, my God, what's the weather doing in Wales? We need to get out. It's like, oh, no, we can't. We're in lockdown.
Yeah. Thanks, COVID.
Yeah.
I don't.
But we are still getting out and about, to be honest. Wales is relatively quiet anyway, you know. I call it the land of old. So a lot of old people like to sort of retire over here because it's a nice, peaceful place. You know, not much crime, not much of anything going on, to be honest. It can be boring place as a youngster, but a great place if you're elderly. So I always just call it the land of olds now.
I'm trying to see where this person came from, and I feel like maybe this calm environment sprung all this chaos that you needed.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's the ridiculous health and safety.
Yeah,
and
you just needed a way out. So you go to fucking Mongolia, and that got you out of it.
It sounds like because you were talking about when you were younger, and like, you know, these things all the teenagers do, where you kind of go into nature and you just kind of want to get away and have like a nice environment. But it sounds like instead of like obviously those are great moments with friends, but it sounds like you got a connection to nature through that. It sounds like you had this. Whatever that means to you, like there's like you're saying, a connection to the planet, a connection to the people. It kind of gives you like a kind of spiritual perspective, a kind of broader, like, oh, I'm not alone here, or like all this stuff that came before me. Actually, like form that into a question if you want to, you know, like what is your connection to nature? Like you're like a survivalist now, or like whatever the word is. You're like a professional crazy adventurer. Like you're literally, it's like your job title. You're an adventurer. That's like you're an Indiana Jones, you know?
Put that on my business card. I am professionally crazy. Yeah, my time with the jungle community in Myanmar, that was after the Vietnam cycle. The Vietnam cycle was my first reckless adventure, and that was the catalyst, I'd say. After that, we only spent a few days, a few nights in the jungle with the community. And this jungle had everything, it was hot, it was humid, there was mosquitoes, there was leeches, apparently there was tigers, there were wild boars, there were snakes, there were everything in this jungle. And I remember the locals would teach us how to hunt, how to gather. They'd show us bamboo and the fact that bamboo can be used for almost absolutely everything. In fact, the guy that taught us that, he loved bamboo so much that he named his son Bamboo.
Wow.
Which was pretty cool. And how to build rafts and shelter with bamboo, And it was that time in the jungle, the first couple of nights, I remember I woke up, my bedding was a banana leaf under more banana leaves, which were constructed on this bamboo shelter that we had created. And I woke up in the middle of the night, the fire's still going, letting off the smoke to keep the flies and mosquitoes away. But then I looked down at my banana leaf because it's this sort of this ridge, and on one of the ridges to my left, I just saw these big ants, marching up and down. And at the time, I was a bit freaked. They were like red ants. I could see their little pincers, ready to bite me. And I was just a bit like, oh, I don't like this. Yeah. And I couldn't really sleep. However, come the third night, and this is where I didn't know the saying back then, but I love it because I can relate it back to this moment, is the more you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, the more comfortable you become. Come the third night, I looked down and I realized they don't want anything to do with me. They're busy with their routine. They've broken their goals down, as you can see. they've got a goal that they're working on, and they're just not pestering me. They're not on me, and I fell asleep again. And I woke up again about 4 hours later as the sun had risen, and I was looking down at these ants, still no ants on me. And it was at that time that I started to care less about the mosquitoes and the flies. I started to realize that the jungle isn't all against you. If you know what you're doing in the jungle and you know how to work with the jungle, it can be your ally. Wow. It has everything you need to survive, to thrive. This community rely on it to live their whole lives in their community. And I was only a teenager, really. I was 19, and it was at that point I just realized that there's almost this bit of fear and scare against these different environments, like they're against you, and yeah, they will punish you. They are brutal. You go in and you come out like you've just finished a Muay Thai fight. But, if you know what you're doing, if you know how to handle the elements, if you know what's edible and what's not edible, and if you're just content and comfortable with the uncomfortable, you can be at one with nature. And I guess that I learned that age 19, and I tried to develop on that. But what really taught me that wasn't just being out in the environment, it was the people, it was the locals. And so whilst I wouldn't really call myself a survival expert, because I'm not an instructor in survival. I don't teach people how to survive, but drop me in an environment and maybe I stand a good chance of surviving. I proved it on my previous expeditions, but that's thanks to the locals that have taken me in, have shown me only a small fraction of their knowledge, because they hold so much knowledge. You need to spend years with them to really soak up all that they know. But I would use their knowledge, a little bit of their expertise, and apply it to my journey, which would help me survive my expeditions. So yeah, very interesting. And, I do try to learn from the locals. That's what I'm intrigued about. But maybe, when I was camping earlier with friends, that's potentially where the seed was planted, where you'd wake up and the sun was rising and you're just out there, in nature. But I love my luxuries as well. I love my extremes. I'm not this, and it's funny because when I do my talks, like the TED Talks or whatever, I have people come up to me at the end saying that they can actually relate because they're talking to me and they're like, and you're just like a normal guy. And I'm like, well, I am a normal guy. What do you mean? It's like, well, you're not walking on stage barefoot. You've not got this big beard and these wide eyes like a wild man. So I'm able to relate to your stories. And it's like, yeah, I like my extreme, but I still love my luxuries. I love my nice flash hotels and whatnot. It's just when I have to be extreme and when I need to survive, I can do that. But it's having that healthy balance, isn't it? And being able to adapt. What's more important than being able to survive is being able to adapt. And I always do believe that first and foremost is the case. Yeah.
I guess they're kind of the same thing. And like you're maybe you're not a survival expert, but you're maybe like a bit of a people expert, like, yourself very well. And these other people, like through your travels or maybe before your travels, like you have this way that part of the survival is connecting with people who know how to survive. The locals are the only way you're going to survive. It's 100%. Cool to see humans adapting to their environment and literally living wherever we can live. It doesn't matter how hot or cold or how wet or how frozen or how deadly. These people figure it out, and it might be thousands of years of tradition, or it might be the last 10 years of science, but like we kind of do have to rely on each other. And you rely as little as possible on people to do a lot of the things you do, and yet you just said it before, there's so many people in front and behind you allowing you to do what you do. So it's like it just seems like you have a lot of reverence for life, man. It seems like you have a lot of respect for the nature of it, but like the people of it and the combination, the way they interact. It seems like you just have a very like a global mind. A kind of like psychedelic large truth is like available to you, and it's cool to see. You just maybe you do seem like an extreme adventurer and then yet a normal guy on stage kind of thing, but there really is something unique about your perspective and through the travels as well that no one else can really have. And I guess that's why the documentary, the book, like sharing that is really part of it. You're adding to it now. You're one of these people that we can access the way you accessed the locals, like we get to kind of live through you vicariously. And it's not the same, but like I'm never gonna fucking do what you did, man.
No, that's it, and that's always how I try to portray it as well. Like when I speak of these stories, I never really wanted to come across as in like I hiked through the jungle of Madagascar, so can you, here's your machete. I hope that people take it in a different way, in a way. I hope they see it as we all face our own jungle in life. We all cross our own desert in life. We all have these different levels and these different platforms. We all have these goals that must be managed appropriately and broken down, but otherwise they'll seem overwhelming. That can be working for your degree. That could be working on your career where you've got to start at the bottom of your ladder. That could be finishing your essay, handing it in on time. That could be absolutely anything. And so I try to share little messages from these expeditions. Like in the jungles of Madagascar, I learned that, we can't always be motivated. That's just impossible. Doesn't matter who you are, you can't always be motivated, but you can be disciplined. And that's the difference. And discipline is something that you force yourself to do, even though you don't have the motivation or you just can't be bothered doing it. With the Gobi Desert, it's breaking the goals down and holding the vision. With the Yangtze, a big lesson there was probably, it doesn't matter if no one else sees it for you. What's important is if you can see it for yourself. It took over 2 years to plan Mission Yangtze, and we were already delayed by 2.5 months from starting. And it got to such a point that most of my team here in the UK and in China were calling me up saying, abort it. You're going to face -40. The bears, at the worst case, they're coming off the mountains. They're looking for food before they go into hibernation. No film crew want to join you. No guides want to be up on the plateau in the depths of winter. Abort it and try again next year. But I believed in my training, believed in the preparation. I held that vision, and no matter what anyone else saw for me, I could see it for myself. I knew how capable I was. And as humans, we are far more capable than we give ourselves credit for. And I went for it. Yes, it was a risk, but it wasn't a reckless risk. It was a risk that I had assessed, and I knew that I could make it off the mountains before the depths of winter. I would face the -20s, but not the -40s.
Wow.
And I guess a lot of people they can listen to other people a little bit too much Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing, but go with what you believe, hold it. Don't let anyone knock it. You will have naysayers, but it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, you can say that because you put in the preparation, and experts are telling you like, hey, maybe not experts, but like your team, people you trust, people who have the same information as you, but then they're telling you like, hey, maybe this isn't the best idea. It's like, even with all this preparation, there is this moment of, I guess I'm reluctant to use the word faith, because there's so much, it's informed faith. It's not a leap in any way, but at the same time, you do have to let go and trust yourself. And that's at the beginning, like you have to keep that feeling going for another year at that point. And you're doing something where I imagine, I wanted to ask you actually, like, people probably tried what you tried and died, which must be such a mind fuck. But you're just like, bah, I could do this. Well. And it must have. I don't.
There was a team that attempted to. This was the scariest story. Is there was a team. It was in the 1980s. It was Americans who were attempting to be the first people to raft down the Yangtze River, but then the Chinese got wind of that, and of course they wanted to be the first to raft down their own river. And so there was this race between America and China on who could complete this expedition first. Within the first 2 weeks, I think it was 2 or 3 people that died of altitude sickness. Bearing in mind, they're dropping in elevation faster because I'm walking, I'd be up at elevation for a lot longer. There was the threat from wildlife that they had. And then before the halfway point, I don't know how many died, but both of the rafting teams had failed. They aborted the expedition before the halfway point. Now, that always played on my mind. Because I was thinking, if there's any difficult way to go about the Yangtze, it's to walk it. And there were times that I wish I had some sort of raft. If I did, I wouldn't have used it anyway, because I would have been disqualified. But there's lots of bends weaving in and around, still calm water. But either side of that is these V-shaped cliff faces, that I've got to now navigate and go over, following the bends. It'd take almost a day just to get over one bend. But all of that, definitely plays on your mind. And with Mongolia as well, the reason why I say that wasn't the toughest expedition, obviously definitely one of them. But the reason I say it was the scariest is I wasn't at this level I am today. I was this, as I said, just this Muay Thai scuba diver living on an island. Not a professional adventurer, just a reckless adventurer, actually, I would say back then. But there were these professional adventurers telling me it was impossible. People who were taking on the world's most dangerous horse race across Mongolia, covering 1,000 kilometers, saying that the horses struggle, let alone a guy who's never been there attempting to put a trailer. And they were saying that the reason the nomads, when they travel, because the nomads have traveled all over the country, of course, and they still do. But they travel with yaks or camels, and they travel as a close-knit community, But with that got to me so much. That is another lesson really about the breaking the goals down. Is I actually searched for the impossible day beforehand. I had a fantastic logistics manager called Rob Mills, who lived in Mongolia for such a long time. But he was back in London. We went to the Royal Geographic Society. We had these amazing maps. And actually, instead of looking at the whole anticipated to be 100-day expedition, I looked at every single day and I asked him, from your knowledge, you've traveled a lot of these parts, which is the impossible day? And we literally mapped and looked at each day. It took us a long time, but we effectively broke it down into every single day, and we realized that there wasn't an impossible day. Every day was possible. Nice. Now that's the difference. That's when I went against the professionals, and that's when I said it can be done. And I went out there. I believed in the preparation. I believed it could be done. Yes, I almost died. Was that preparation? Was there a bit of luck? Who knows? But we made it. We made it. And I would have never have known if I allowed the naysayers or the critics who were saying like that's a stupid idea, that's foolish, or that's just plainly impossible. I could be still sat here today thinking, oh yeah, once I was preparing to walk across Mongolia, and it would have only ever been a story of what I once may have attempted. rather than what I went for.
You know,
I see something, go for it.
I see this trend a lot, and it's when you break it down into goals, like the 100 meters. At some point, you had to narrow it down to every 100 meters because it was that bad.
Yeah.
But when you have everything broken down, it's all that's left is you, and whether you trust that you can do each step, and if you can have that self-trust, then whatever the fuck is going on, it doesn't matter because you know you have to hit each checkpoint every day, and then you got the greater pictures done. It's incredible.
Exactly that. Yeah. And and there's something so exciting about it. Very daunting as well. Like, I remember being on that start line, just the wind. I was over 3,000 meters. It was freezing, maybe -10, -15, and I was just knew that I was camping in the tent. But there was something very exciting that I am now relying just on myself, because there was a lot of team involved, and a lot of kudos to these logistics managers, to my parents, to family as well, and to people who just helped me get to that start line. But now it was at the point where I was self-reliant. Whether I succeed or fail, it's now down to you to make it happen. And there's just something overwhelmingly scary but exciting about that, I'm sure you can relate when you're working on a project and you're like, oh shit, this is it. I'm going head first into the deep end on it.
Oh, absolutely, man.
I didn't think of it that way, but like there's a shitload of pressure. There's so much, like 2 years of planning into the Yangtze, like first day must be overwhelming.
Yeah, and I'll let you in on a bit of a secret. Well, it's not a secret, but I just don't discuss it much. Is sometimes
I just feel like yes.
Yeah. As you know, I'm a bit of a risk taker. So with Mission Yangtze, I was planning it for 2 years, but for the first year we couldn't get it off the ground. I had certain teams in place, but they didn't really believe that I was going to go for it. Despite Madagascar and Mongolia, they didn't believe it could be done. There was a lot of wasted time. Sponsors were on the fence. They were like, yeah, we want to jump on board, but we kind of don't. And there was just this mass circle of people on the fence. And I was like, oh my God, I can't take one team member or one person to take the first jump. I thought, how am I going to stir this shit up? How am I going to create shockwaves? And so what I did is I actually announced it to the press. So before I had the funds to do it, before I knew it could be done, before I had the team, the finance, the sponsors, the logistics, I went to the press and I pretty much shouted about what I was about to do in the hope that this would create enough waves for sponsors, for the team, for people to then see and think, oh shit, okay, the gun has been shot from the start line. It's all go. He shouted about it. This is what he's doing. And it worked. I was shit scared because I thought there's lots of prep. Once I announce it, I have to find a way to do it. It was through BBC, it was through the Guardian, Telegraph, it was through the biggest platforms that I just announced what I'm about to attempt. And I secretly funds, but if it goes the right way, if it goes that I am hoping and how I anticipate it will go, then it will go well. We will get there, and we did get there. But if I didn't take that risk to announce it, despite despite being very far from the green light, it's so another message. Sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and go for it, even though you don't really know how to do it.
It's like full accountability.
Is it Richard Branson's quote as well? Didn't he say, if someone asks you how to do something, and if you don't know how to do it, just say yes and then learn fast afterwards. That's kind of like a similar scenario in a way. But we got there in the end.
Oh man,
that's full accountability because now it's out in the public. Everyone's expecting it of you, and then it's like there's no turning back at that point.
There's no turning back, and I knew that the pressure would be there, and I knew that I would find a way to make it happen because of the pressure, because of the questions, because of the flow, because of the interest. I was like, right, I need to be progressing now, week by week, month by month. I need to be deeper into the project, closer to making it happen. But everyone did shake up. The logistics team, the production team, they were seeing these articles, it got them excited. It thought, wow, we can get our brand amongst all of this, or we can be a part of creating history. Got them fired up. I was receiving phone calls. Then I was like, well, yeah, I've been waiting for you to get off the fence for a long time. I'm ready. Let's go.
So it's, in retrospect, it doesn't feel reckless at all. It's like, it was very strategic. It got you there. So hindsight's 2020.
Yeah. It was very strategic, but it could have turned reckless if literally nothing happened, and that was the risk. They could have just been like, "Oh, good luck, Ash. I didn't know you've got everything sorted. All the best."
You took a gamble.
Could have gone that way too. I analysed everything.
Wow.
Even my own family were nervous for me to do that. They were like, "I don't think you're doing the right thing." And I was like, "Look, trust me, it's got to be done.
Yeah,
it's the only way."
That reminds me of the story of Cortez. Like, it's obviously history. He's not the greatest of people, but when he landed his ship with all his soldiers, he burnt all the ships. So it was a symbol that we're not going back. We're only going forward.
Oh, shit.
You can imagine that.
Extreme, isn't it?
Your general destroys your ships.
That's a serious level.
But it's that mindset of setting, regardless of that example, but setting that bar, and then there's no turning back. That begs for you to step up to the plate.
100%. Sometimes having more than one option can be the jeopardy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Having a way out or something,
That sounded pretty good. Maybe I should quote that.
Yeah.
You heard that?
I'm gonna edit that for you.
We got a clip, guys. What's the timestamp?
But
that's true. Like, what was that movie? It was like one of the Batman movies where he's trying to climb out of this hole. And,
yes.
And he has a rope and he keeps falling.
Yeah, that's right.
And the one time he makes it is because he takes the rope off.
Dark Knight Rises, no?
Freaking die. Well,
yeah. What does he say? He says, "I'm not afraid," and he says, "That's the issue. You need fear to be able to fight." And then he said, "Just make the jump," and he just laughs, doesn't he? But how? He just looks at him, remove the rope, and he's like, "And then you'll refine your fear."
Yes.
And that's why I always say, fear is healthy. Fear, you've probably heard me say this before, but fear, I believe, comes as a packaged deal. It comes with doubt. Where there's fear, there's doubt. Doubt is the toxic one. You need doubt to a certain extent to start the training, to start the preparations. But the more you experience, the more you train, the more you practice, and the more you prepare, the less you need doubt, because you're getting better and better to a professional level that, if you look at even snake handlers, astronauts, they don't want to be bitten by these snakes. They still have fear that this snake can kill them, but they don't have doubt anymore, because they handle the snake so good that why doubt? So it's almost preparing and experiencing to such a level that you eradicate doubt, but keep hold of the fear, because the fear, I think, is healthy. You need it, and that's an example with the well. As he climbs up the well, he removes the rope so he can refine the fear. Now with the fear, he's going to try, even if it's that extra 10%, knowing that if he fails, he's dead.
Yeah.
And there's just that pressure that comes with it, isn't there? He's only got one option, and that is to survive. Otherwise, he's dead.
I see it as fear is interesting because it could hold you back, but it can also make you more cautious and actually aid you into getting to your goals. It's really interesting that you mention it like that. I never really looked at it as a tool that you can use to sharpen all your decisions.
Yeah, no, 100%. I carry fear with me on all of my expeditions, just as much as the next guy, in fact.
Yeah.
But it's just about managing it accordingly and embracing it, understanding it a little bit more. I think it's, fear is, a lot of people don't understand it, but if we all explain what fear is, we'll explain it in almost the exact same way, Yeah. But I guess the more you're staring into its eyes, the more you're getting familiar with it, the more you're learning about it, and the more you'll know that it's a good thing, how to use it, when to get rid of it. It becomes a tool, as you say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess it's kind of a raw energy, and it's information, because you're in danger, and it's a very physiological thing. Also, it's one of those mind-body connection moments. And then what you're saying about separating it from doubt is more of the imagination. Doubt is more of like, you even gave it a chance. You're like, doubt is good at the beginning because it's rational, because you should doubt yourself because you don't have the skill, and that goes away immediately as you start training. But it doesn't, because you're practiced in doubt, and it turns into a kind of practice of maybe rumination, or whatever, just you know what, like a imagination gone off the deep end, you know, like a waste of imagination. It's even in I think in Buddhism, it's one of the 5 hindrances. You know, like you might just sit there and doubt, whereas fear can be just a reaction and it can push you forward. Like you were saying, there's fear and doubt. Like maybe on the other side of that is courage. You know, like you need fear for either of those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. You know, even if you look, I remember speaking to a bungee jump, an instructor in bungee jumping, and I was like, "How many times have you jumped?" And he said over 1,000 times. And I said, "So do you just like jump as if it's super easy?" He was like, "No, it always gets me just like it's the first jump." Wow. And that is fear. That's because it's not a normal thing. You're not supposed to look down at that height and throw your body off, and your body will never get used to that. It's still saying, "This is a stupid thing. What are you doing?" You know?
Have you gone bungee jumping or skydiving or something?
Yeah, man. When I was 19, I ventured from China to Hong Kong over to Macau, especially for the world's highest bungee jump. And it was my first bungee jump, 233 meters, which was ridiculous.
Wow.
Oh my God. I've gone skydiving, but I hear that bungee jumping is actually scarier because you can see the ground quite clearly.
Oh, well, I think, you know, I've not done skydiving. I want to get my skydiving license, you know. Nice. But what someone said is when you're in the moving plane, what it is you're already moving so fast already. So when you jump out of the plane, your body was already moving that fast. You're just feeling the wind. Now with the bungee, you're going from 0 miles an hour through all of this thin air. There isn't that you know, the wind's against you heavy, isn't it, when you're skydiving? Like instantly as soon as you jump out the plane, I assume, you know, the wind is like keeping you there. But with the bungee, you just drop like a sack of spuds through thin air. You don't feel any pressure from the wind against you. You are just gone.
I'm telling you, you definitely have the same feeling when you skydive. Like there's this, what I described it as was like when I was a kid, I used to jump onto my bed.
Yeah.
Like you just run into your room and like jump onto your bed, and like, you know, the bed's gonna be there. Yeah. Well, like skydiving, it's as if the bed vanishes, then the ground, like the house vanishes, the earth vanishes. You pick up so much speed, it's unreal. But that the wind catching you is like a few seconds down the line, and those seconds are a long ass time because you are falling. Like you feel like you're in a car, and then you feel like you're in a rocket. Like you're like, oh, this is fast, and then it kind of just slows down quickly, but like not in a jarring way, and then you hit that terminal velocity, and then it's eerie because you're so far from the ground, and like there may or may not be clouds, but like it's very peaceful and it's very awesome. And I only went once. It's my first time. I'm strapped to a guy. Like there's like a serenity, whereas with bungee jumping, it's like you're just screaming no the whole time, like in your mind. You're just like, no, I don't want to jump off this. I'm gonna die. I know my feet are tied to a bungee, but like that is
it just feels so dodgy as well. I remember even in Thailand, I was doing a much smaller one. It was just a 60 meter jump, which is normally the standard 50, 60 meters is the normal one. But it was in this crane that would be blowing. It's like an elevator. It'd come down, it'd collect you, you'd go up, moving super slow. It'd be blowing in the wind. I remember there was a guy, beer in his hand, smoking a cigar, that's strapping these tea towels to me and then straps the cord around me. And I'm just like looking at him thinking, you're smoking and drinking. I hope you've done this, but I hope I'm strapped in. You know, and this crane's blowing in the wind. It was like, it was just everything about it was so scary.
What is with us as humans? Like I literally put my life in the hands of whoever packed that parachute.
You could be hungover in the morning, you know.
I didn't see their face. Yeah, like just all right, let's do it.
I did a thought experiment like that once where I thought about all the things I do with blind trust, that if you really break it down, you're really putting a lot of trust into a lot of people on the daily. You know, that like simple tasks, like even just like taking a bus, you're putting your trust in the driver being completely sane or normal in that moment. But it's like these little things that we constantly just let pass because it's normal, you know?
Yeah. But constantly relying on trust in a way.
Yeah. It's
It's
really crazy if you really think about all the things you do that require trust of others, and that
could go wrong. Yeah. And
As
all the
simple as
shit that you see that do go wrong as well, you know?
That's why when I was in Thailand, that was a big lesson. Is just but crossing the streets in some areas, there's no lights. You just trust that you go and they maneuver around you. You know, it's
every man for himself, isn't it?
Yeah.
100%. There's some stuff like I was saying about the health and safety and how I hate it in the UK. That I went out to Thailand. I've gone mature now. Of course, it makes more sense. But there's definitely something still. I don't know. You know, if there's a step there, just use your eyes. You don't need a sign to say mind the step and then a sign to say watch the sign. That
I'm
will
with
remind
you,
to
man.
mind the step.
It worked in Thailand, man. I love the system way more than how we have it over here.
It's great, isn't it? I just think everyone is in a bit of cotton wool now.
Yes.
You know,
And it doesn't serve you. It does not serve us. It plays against us.
Yeah, it helps and it doesn't help. It helps to some extent because, you know, you do get some silly people who will make some stupid mistakes if there wasn't a sign letting them know.
Yeah.
And I see that more and more in the world every day. Like, wow, how did he not see that? He just didn't.
Don't you? Isn't it the same thing though? Don't you find those people have their eyes closed a little bit because we're born in a society where we're on train tracks? Like if I drive in India, I have to keep my wits about me, and you kind of get used to that level of attention, and your attention goes up and your calm goes like your calm stabilizes, like your anxiety goes down. Whereas if I'm driving here, just a couple of years ago, they didn't even have laws about being on your phone. You know, like now you'll lose your license instantly because they understand it's worse than being drunk and all that stuff. But like, there's literally lines and lights and signs and you can't turn here at this time. And you're it's like you're reading a novel. You're just like, okay, I'm just gonna push the gas, and you even have power steering. Like it's a joke. And then
everything, isn't there? Yeah.
Then you trip on the step. You know, like you were saying, because you're thinking about what you're gonna cook for dinner or something.
Yeah, man, it's mental, isn't it? I do think, you know, you stop using all your senses, don't you? Because there's everything telling you should do this, you should do that. Whereas I think out there, like you were saying in India, your senses, that's how they have to be 100% awake and alert, don't they? You know, things coming from the left, from the right, from behind you, even from above you in India. You know, it's
out of nowhere you get jacked up by a tiger that just jumps into the street out of nowhere. You know.
Oh man, yeah. I was walking down a little alleyway in India. It was just me and my friend. You know, the alleyways in India are like they're super narrow, and we just heard loads of locals shouting behind us, and we turned round, and there was this raged out bull running right towards us that we had to quickly slip into the side of the water and just went running right between us. I think it just got claustrophobia, it just panicked, it just hated being in these little streets, and it just was looking for a way out, but it was running right for it. And if it wasn't for those locals, we would have just been rammed by that bull.
Dude, they're so strong, it's scary. Like one of them, like they're usually really nice because they're treated so well, you know, but like one of them just decided to like walk through me. And it was amazing. It's like a wall got up and walked. Like I had no chance, no resistance. And it's a scary feeling of power when it's moving so slowly. It had no momentum, and it just shoved me aside like I was made of dust, you know? Like
pure muscle, aren't they? They're just pure muscle.
Wow.
I remember being sat next to a tiger when I was 19 in one of these places at North Thailand in Chiang Mai, and I was hit in the face by its tail. It felt like someone punched me in the face, and I'm like, that's just the tip of its tail.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Imagine.
It was just like a proper slugfest.
Oh man.
And I was thinking, imagine if that was its paw, its hand. You know, you just don't stand a chance, do you?
How does that make you feel as someone who's like extremely athletic? You know, like you're hitting the peaks of your genetic like abilities, and then an animal comes out of nowhere and like accidentally hits you with like its weakest limb, and you're like, oh, my face! Like I need a minute.
It's like a strike from Brock Lesnar, you know?
Yeah,
exactly.
We are so people. we're a little bit pathetic, aren't we? I guess.
Fragile skin, you know.
So strong, but so fragile. I mean, like you survived some things that should just kill most people, and yet, you know, like the wrong little piece of rock falling down a hill, or you step wrong, or some people they just sneeze and they break a rib or something like that. It doesn't make sense sometimes.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? Like we cut ourselves so simply, yet look at the skin of a crocodile. It takes an awful lot for it to cut itself.
But that's what's also what you mentioned. The adaptability is what our fucking main survival mechanism is. You know.
Well, it's here, isn't it? Homo sapien, right? I'm reading
it's incredible
sapien at the minute. And wasn't it the Neanderthals who were brutes? You know, they weren't so wise, but they were big. They were one-on-one. They would just destroy us almost as if they were silverback, you know. But we were just quick. We invented the fire. You know, we were at the bottom of the food chain. We were scavenging. We were just nothing but gatherers. We were all vegans, effectively, weren't we? Vegetarians going right back in the day. And that's why our knowledge of plants, of what's edible, what's not, was so precise. But eventually, when we created the fire was a game changer, really.
Yeah.
We were able to scare lions off the zebra, what they had just hunted. We just walk up to it like a badass, knowing that they fear the fire, you know, and they would run away. We would just pull this zebra, hack off its leg, off we go. And we pretty much wiped out the Neanderthals because we would almost hunt like the wolves, work in packs. We could communicate. We're almost known as the gossipers, weren't we? Whereas the Neanderthals would be like, there's a lion down by that river hunting something. We would literally be like, there's a lion this tall, probably this age, down near the Yangtze River, for example, with two other female lionesses hunting a wildebeest, which is approximately half a kilometer away, walking upstream. You know, and we would just be so detailed in our communication because we used our brain. And that is how we just became so effective in hunting. And then we just progressed when we didn't need to hunt. We just kept developing in other means, didn't we?
Until we ended up right here.
Talking to people from the other side of the world
through the air.
Technology.
Through the air.
It's crazy. I think I heard somewhere that Neanderthals.
When your video cut out before, we're like, oh, where's he gone? Oh, and we're like, oh, my video must have just cut
pops
out.
Right back
it is how many thousands of miles between you and
instantaneously.
In the wrong state, you might get mad. They're like, what the fuck, man? This piece of shit technology. It's like, yo.
It used to take 3 years to get a message to you.
Man, mental,
you know?
yeah, mental, right?
It's really wild, man. Look, we hit our time. Fuck, that was a great way to end it, though, about the fire, man. You really got my brain spinning. Cause,
nice.
Because
that's perfect time as well. My battery is on, like, what's my battery on? 15%. It kept popping up before.
Ash, it was really an honor to talk to you, brother. It was you're fucking...
No, appreciate that. Thanks for calling through, guys. It's been a great chat. Lots of mixed questions. I've enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah, man.
I'm glad, man, dude. I didn't know how it would go, you know, because there's so much I want to pick your brain about, but like, it's just, honestly, it was just fun talking to you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm sure we'll do this again.
Hell yeah,
and,
man.
I hope so.
I'll hit you up when I'm next in Montreal and vice versa. If you ever venture to the rainy Wales, let me know.
Sweet, brother. If you want to, if you have any plugs, I know you spoke about your book, and there's a documentary coming out. If you want to just give people a link or somewhere to go check you out, I'll put a link in the description too.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. Yeah, the book, if people are interested, is Mission Possible. That's on Amazon. If they're interested in seeing what's next, of course, I'm just getting started. Mission Yangtze was only the warm-up. They can follow along on Instagram. So yeah,
nice, man.
But most importantly, you know, stay safe, stay healthy, stay productive. You know, this is a weird time we're going through, but every red light turns green. So
I love that, man.
We will be back to normal again.
Yeah.
Just break those goals down.
Yeah.
That's it.
I like it. Narrow it down.
That's it.
All right, brother.
Thanks again, man.
Take care, man.
Wicked. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
See you, brother.
See you now.